Well, in a week or so, American football steps back into the spotlight with training camps getting underway all over the NFL. Around here, we pay special attention to that camp held in Oxnard, California, where the Cowboys will return, reporting a week from Tuesday. Just ahead of camp, running back Ezekiel Elliott was spending some time with fans in Fort Worth this weekend. Fans who paid for the right to sign items for price, of course. Zeke has a stake in the National Fantasy Football Convention, which this year had a bit of a military flavor as well, with some recruits being sworn in. Those are the real heroes. But we're talking about sports tonight. And among those on hand at the event this year was Cowboys' second-year pass rusher, Taco Charlton, who's convinced that he can take a step forward in his second season.
Coming towards the end of the season, I definitely, started to find my groove and things started coming along good and put together a lot of good games. But like I said, the season ended, so now going into next season, I continue that and keep building. And like I said, it's something I've always done, and since Little League is to get better each year. So I did better in high school, got better each year. College, same thing. And like I said, I don't think the pros will be any different each year, get better.
Tony Romo had a good reason to miss his own fantasy football convention. He was in contention in the American Century Golf Championship, that celebrity event at Lake Tahoe. Par 4 15th, sinks a long birdie putt to take the lead over Mark Mulder and Ray Allen. The fist pump. Three-time NBA champ Steph Curry, paying off a side bet with his dad, had to take a dip in the lake. Probably felt pretty good. With the lead, Romo played number 18 safe, two-putting for par to clinch the title over Mulder. It's his first win at this event after being a runner-up 3 different times.
It feels good. It's a great event. American Century does a great job putting this on, and we're all fortunate to be out here playing. And then, the guys I played with today played great. I mean, Mark, he's an outstanding champion. He's won this 3 years in a row. Joe kept the pressure on right down the middle every single hole. So, you had to play good to win today, and it was nice that I was able to do that.
Open mic time with Matt Mosley. You have read and heard his work for years around here. His latest projects include the Doomsday podcast with Ed Werder. He's also a contributor to DallasNews.com and Texas Monthly. Have I forgotten anything?
No.
You got a lot on your plate right now.
I do. The E-Radio Network, don't forget that, down in Northeast Texas. And proud to have the Craig and Clark Hodges of Hodges Capital have now partnered with the Doomsday podcast and Mosley LLC. So I know you wanted to hear about that, but quite a partnership.
Quite the businessman all of a sudden.
It really is. Yeah, I've gone entrepreneurial on you. Yeah.
He's all grown up. The Cowboys report to Oxnard in 9 days, coming off that 9-7 season. What do you make of Dak Prescott as he begins his third year? Had the great rookie season, took a step back last year, but given the circumstances, maybe that was to be expected. Is he the guy who is the long-term answer for them at that position, the guy who can lead them back to greatness?
I think he is, and I think there's a thought with this quarterback that the same thing can happen after T.O. left with Tony. And Tony had a great season with Miles Austin. Remember LaRon Robinson? He got him a huge contract when he left to go to Jacksonville. And I think there's some thought that without Dez, Dak can have a little more room to grow and do his thing. And then, of course, if the offensive line can stay healthy and they get the running game going, I think Dak will feel a lot more comfortable. But I think, the thing is, though, this first of this year, Mike, is going to be like even the first game. I mean, if Dak has a bad game early, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. And, oh, by the way, he also on his shoulders has the head coach who basically is you go to the playoffs or you're fired.
Yeah, and probably have to go to the playoffs and do some damage in the playoffs, right? You think just getting there is enough? It's impossible to know with this owner/general manager.
Yeah, part of me thinks that 10-6 and getting a wild card spot. I've heard people say, "Oh, you've got to get at the NFC title game," and that seems like a lot since they've knocked on the door a couple of times. But I think you're right. Probably one game, one win would keep him around. They're not wanting to fire him, but if you look at the way they put this staff together, I mean, it's not like they brought in a bunch of Garrett guys when they made these staff. I mean, who got their guy? It was Scott Linehan got to bring in Kellen Moore as a, and so some of these coaches really aren't Garrett people. So it's going to be fascinating to watch. But I probably one playoff win would keep him going.
Let's talk a little bit about a kind of an overriding topic in the NFL, and that's the anthem controversy. The players' union is threatening to file a grievance against the owners over the new national anthem policy, which essentially says, and the owners unilaterally approved it, saying if you want to stay in the locker room, you can, but if you're on the field, you must stand for the anthem. How do you see this thing continuing to unfold, either in the court of public opinion or literally in the courts?
Well, I think what they do is they've basically made themselves a piñata for the President of the United States. I think Trump knows this is a way to whip his base up, and every time they try to do something, even when they say maybe this is an acceptable thing, keep them in the locker room, there's really no way they win, but I promise you this one won't win. And so he knows this is a thing that works for him. And he's even been quoted in some of these depositions that Jerry Jones has given as having said that to Jerry. Jerry, this is a good message for me, and I'm going to continue. And as long as the NFL does this the way they're handling it, they're playing right into the president's hands.
Well, and the NFL in general, I think, is getting the worst of both worlds here. I have friends, and I'm sure you do, who are boycotting the NFL because of the anthem protest. I have friends who are boycotting the NFL because of the backlash against Colin Kaepernick, who's been blackballed from the league. So, in fairness to Roger Goodell, because I know you're always interested in being fair to Roger Goodell, this is not an easy thing to come up with a solution for.
It's not, but I just think the problem is this commissioner has lost so much credibility in the way he's dealt with issues, both domestic violence. I mean, even the Zeke Elliott, and looking at some of the recent sort of punishments he's doled out, and I just think he's lost so much credibility that there is almost a no-win situation. But I do think leaving, okay, we're going to let you stay in the locker room, I think they've left themselves open. And quite honestly, some of this seemed like late last year was going away a little bit. And so this theory of let's all get together and come up with this, some of this would kind of go away probably, but they won't let it go away. And the president won't let it go away. And he knows it's a good topic for him.
All right, let's move back to sports here real quickly. Edward Egros has a special guest in to talk college football in a moment. Big 12 Media Day comes to the Star on Monday and Tuesday. Oklahoma, the heavy favorite to win the Big 12. What do you think?
I think that's probably right. I think this is going to be a great season because there is no real clear favorite. I think you would think I'd say Baylor, but I think my dark horse would be Oklahoma State. They got a four-way quarterback battle, and that's going to be fascinating. They got a young kid named Spencer that they could put in there, but I think they've got plenty of talent, and they've got a great running back coming back. And right now, preseason, they're being ranked like 5th. And Texas is ranked too high, as always. I got to get the sharp stick after them. TCU's ranked 3rd. I think one of the fascinating stories of the country this year will be Will Greer at West Virginia and what he's able to do. And
we're stepping on Ed's segment right now. That's coming up in just a moment.
My apologies to Ed.
From Dave
I'm sure Ed only talks about SMU. Yeah.
You've played a lot of golf with Tony Romo, you tell me, and he won the American Century Classic in Vegas today. We all know how important golf has been to Tony for a long time, so this is a big day for him.
This is a great win, a great breakthrough win for the Romo family. I don't want to get into my stories of playing with him at Pebble Beach, Mike. I think that's more than really you need right now. But he is a great golfer. This is the perfect place for him, though. He tried to play in one of those PGA events, and that's too far up there. But, when Mark Mulder or whoever is his competition, he did it, or Barkley. Did you see the one-handed swing from Barkley? Yeah. Have you ever tried one of those? It's a good win for Romo. It was nice to see.
Champions Tour, Senior Tour, not far away for Tony Romo. A little farther away for Matt Mosley, I think. Thanks for joining us.
Many years away.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yes, good to be here.